All right, thank you for staying with us. Let's head straight to the newspapers now. And I begin with the Nation newspaper. The major story here, Tinubu, financial system rotten under Emefiele, says associates thought he was joking when he said subsidy was gone. Pledges to keep Africa as centerpiece of Nigeria's foreign policy. We recall that the president is in France, or he went to France, where he went to have some conversations and meeting that has to do with countries who need some level of financial assistance. And then we're looking at another story here now. Terrorists, bandits, oil thieves are targets. New service chiefs speaking there. The story here, I tried to please him, says housewife shot by husband. A really sad story there. Brutal exploits of human traffickers. Madams record nude videos of victims taking oaths to pay back $30,000. An unfortunate story. Now, residents cry for help as flood submerges Abuja suburb. NEMA, that's the National Emergency Management Agency, says 116 houses affected at Trademore Estate, no life lost. Analysts say Naira now undervalued at 770 Naira to $1. And then at the top of the paper, Tribunal, Atiku PDP closed case after calling 27 witnesses. Ex-vice president was to present 100 witnesses. I got information about Tinubu's Guinean citizenship online. Atiku PDP's star witness. Obi Labour Party closed with 13 out of 50 planned witnesses. Ex-VP tenders Tinubu's academic work records as evidence. Who has what story?
Yeah, I have a story in the Nations. On page 14, brutal exploits of human traffickers. Madams record nude videos of victims taking oaths to pay back $30,000. This is a very sad story, although we've heard stories like these before. But despite the fact that these people actually know that's the victims, they know what they tend to face, they still go ahead to take these channels to get a better standard of living. And I think we need to continue to tell our girls that prostitution is not the way. There are so many ways that you can use to actually earn money. You can learn a skill. And when you actually learn a skill, Nigeria is a place whereby you can actually monetize your skill, especially with the use of social media. You don't have to sell your body to be able to feed your family. And then we also have some parents who actually encourage these girls to go on these journeys. And
some are their husbands who encourage them to go on this journey. But there's also the aspect of the other side to the story is that some parents do not know that this is the plan these madams have. They come saying, want to help your daughter, want to, lift your family from poverty. So we'll take your daughter with us. Just paint a picture that just makes the parents believe that, okay, there's someone trying to help us, not knowing that they are going to use their daughters for this kind of business.
I mean, this particular madam actually posted this Chisom's story online, and that's because she was trying to shame her for not paying back the $30,000 that she claimed to have used to sponsor the trip. So before they onboard the girls, they usually, record a nude video of them, and then they make them and then they make them take an oath. Sometimes if you try to escape it, they will send cultists after you. It's just so sad, and then I think we need to do better. I know NAPTIP is doing a lot to improve the lives of these girls, but we need to keep advocating.
Right. So I have this story about this woman. Her name is Tina. Just to leave it there, whose husband, shot her arm because she did not prepare his meal in time. Wow. And so the Edo State governor's wife has taken up that case, and she's looking into it, ensuring that the husband of the victim actually faced the full wrath of the law he's brought to book. And the situation happened, she said her husband came home reeking of alcohol, he was drunk, and then she tried to ask him to go inside the room. And in the process, he had asked that she gets his food And so she went to warm the food. When the food was ready, he had slept off. So he woke up, he was angry, saying, "You're always preparing rice for me, this and that." He now went to the fridge, got Coke, emptied it on her, you know. Wow. And that was where the trouble began. And she ran out to report to the friend. The friend said he should calm down, this and that. And the next thing she saw, he had a gun, and he shot at her at close range.
How did he even get
Now, that's one question. Then the other matter is her mom had said that, the victim's mom has said that this matter of abuse, the daughter always goes through it on a regular. But the guy always comes back to beg, and she agrees to return. And she felt that the way, you know, he comes to beg, that he will change, stuff like that, and that the daughter will always say that because of her children, she had to, you know, she has to come back. You know, she has to stay. And that's a really sad
Yes, a lot of
people get into that trap or use it as an excuse to say, because of my children, you know, go through a lot of things that they normally shouldn't go through.
Unfortunately.
So I think the society should do the balance. The churches should do the balance.
Right. Let's quickly go on a break. When we return, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We are still looking through the newspaper headlines, and we're talking about the matter of the lady that was shot by her husband. And you were mentioning something about we need to balance it as a society, involvement of religious houses. Oh, yeah.
The church, the mosque. Let's see that we bring the balance to it. So people do not think if there's a reason to be out of a marriage, they fail themselves. I think that notion has to change. When your life is at risk, you need to scream, you need to say something. We don't want to continue to read stories of people who are victims of domestic violence after they are gone. So it's just important that we get the balance. We get the balance from everywhere, media, religious organizations, family. Let's get the balance. Nobody should make anyone feel like he or she has failed. I mean, there are so many factors that are necessary to make a marriage work.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yes, I also have a report on page 24, and it says PEFT gets accreditation from NCC UK. So PEFT is the popularly known institution that trained artists or actors for Super Story.
Yeah.
Wale Adenuga
production.
Yes. And it's amazing to see that over the years, they've now been accredited by the NCC Education Unit, which is to enable African students acquire BSc and Masters abroad. So you do a course with them for 1 year, and you can go to foreign universities. And I think that that's brilliant.
So
it's a laudable one.
We say kudos to them.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right, we move quickly now to the Punch, Saturday Punch. And the major story here says subsidy removal. Families, workers devise survival strategies amid rising prices. Housewives import foodstuff from rural areas, contribute for bulk purchases. Workers share rides, motorists turn vehicles to Kabu Kabu, more embrace solar energy. I trained my ears, hands to detect car faults. Blind mechanic speaking there. And flood wreaks havoc in Abuja, submerges 116 houses. Monitor political appointees accounts regularly, CBN tells banks. Financial system rotten under Emefiele, says Tinubu. Salarams, traders lament low sales amid high prices. So I have the major story here, talking about subsidy removal. We had said it that day, recall, that we had this conversation about Nigerians, you know, devising means of to survive. Because the situation is here. The truth is, it is here to stay. You can't change it. And so they have to devise a means for survival. Because life has to go on. You can't end your life because subsidy was removed. And so now the report is saying that housewives come together, pool resources together. Maybe you can be in a community and you guys pool resources together. You know someone in the village. You guys can say, okay, you know what? Let's buy food stuff. But bulk purchase from the rural areas is cheaper for us. And then you have that. And then people are carpooling. Okay, we go together this week. Next week, we use your car.
One thing with Nigerians, we always find a creative way out.
Of course.
We always find a creative way.
We'll go get there next week. And then there are those who are saying, okay, this is how much it takes to fuel my generator. Okay, let me see, okay, if I buy solar, which is better, if I buy inverter, which will save me the most.
Yeah.
That's what Nigerians are looking at. And then still in the paper, they were talking about ways of, adjusting or adapting to the situation on the ground. Some are suggesting, you know what, begin to trek.
As funny as it may seem, normally, like the pedestrian bridges, I would try to avoid it. But now, when I think about so many factors, I just have like, let me just climb in.
Go trek.
Happily.
Yeah, happily trek. And if anybody sees your eyes, I know this face. Hello.
Hello, God bless you. Thank you.
We have a trekking culture.
We are together, of course. So, and then they're saying that, you know what, cut costs. Whatever it is that you can do away with, at least you can begin to look at cutting costs.
But the person that works in Ota and wants to come to work at maybe Victoria Island. So how is the person?
That's another point you raised.
So what happens is,
around.
if you are in traffic and you feel you can trek to the next bus stop to get, the vehicle that will take you to wherever you're going, you will do it.
Sure.
You have to do it. We did it this morning. we did it with traffic.
I can imagine. I can imagine.
I mean, anyway. So then the others were just, devising means for how. And then there are those who complained about the fact that it's impacting their health as well. But then you just have to find a way of coping.
I have a story also.
Bulk purchase, beautiful.
Right.
I think that's something to consider.
Yes.
No, of course.
I have a story also on page 26. It says, Yomi Casual speaks on styling TD Jakes. Right? Yes, so because I'm an entrepreneur, so I understand what it is to stay in the game, and then global opportunities are there waiting for you.
Yeah.
So it says that for a 2-month tour, he will be styling TD Jakes as he goes around countries. And in my head, I'm like,
That's a huge
this
one.
is nice. And it's kind of encouraging for other entrepreneurs to see that these things are actually possible. And if I would put in a word out there to say, please stay in the game, stay consistent, one day
It will pay
Also
off.
will pay.
it will.
It will pay off. Any other person have a story
so
upon?
I have a story on page 23, the visually impaired man. I mean, instead of looking at the pathetic side, of course, there are so many excuses. I wish in every organization, they do these Monday review meetings, and the title should be "No More Excuses." Like, we need to move away from all the excuses. This guy just, he helped to confirm what we always hear, that when your sight is affected, your other senses are heightened.
Yes.
Okay, so it's almost impossible to imagine that a mechanic can walk without his sight. But they'll tell you, I saw you, you hardly hear, I heard. Okay, so for him to have done this for about 30 years, just able to use his hands.
30 years.
Yeah, and able to use his ears. I mean, he
had a colleague
like
then
to hear from his customers.
Like, I need to read more about this guy.
Yes.
I am encouraged.
That is
everybody,
incredible.
Everybody must know that, no more excuses. It's
absolutely.
true, but no more excuses.
Wow.
I had a colleague like that. He produces a program then on radio. He's still there up till now. He's still doing the job. He goes home. He will tell you, he doesn't need help. Just he's doing his job. If you give him something, maybe if you give him 100 or 500 naira, he'll feel it and tell you how much it is.
Wow.
He's visually impaired as well.
Yes, he's visually impaired. So they have that heightened sense to detect whatever it is because they are visually impaired. So every other sense is working at an optimal level.
So Veronica, is it not possible for those of us who can see to also train our
Because we can see,
actually
I think
possible.
because we can see, we would not put in that extra.
So that's what I like about it. So it's possible to get us to try other.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
We are limitless, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Depends on how far you are willing to push
Let's
yourself.
quickly move now to Saturday Sun and the major story here. Tinubu, why I fired Emefiele. President says Nigeria's financial system under ex-CBN boss rotten. God gave me courage to stop fuel subsidies 40-year-old scam. Then another story here. Protesters, Ibadan Disco throws 50 Osun communities into darkness. Senate committee's leadership, ex-governors. Why are we laughing? Akwabia's men lobby for
Because it's so late in Osun, 50 households.
Wike plots minority caucus leadership upset. Presidential poll, Obi Labour Party closed case against Tinubu. INEC with 13 witnesses. I will set up Fulani vigilantes in 36 states. For peace to reign, Benue governor must abolish anti-grazing law. Benue governor anti-open grazing law here to stay. All right. New service chiefs to terrorists, bandits, we are coming after you. Kano, Southeast governors Ohaneze in fresh move to free IPOB leader. Presidential poll, Atiku, PDP tender Tinubu's Chicago varsity certificates, Guinean passport, others in court. Who has what story?
Saturday Sun.
Yes.
Okay, so I have a story on page 6. It's another pathetic one. So it has to do with postpartum stress, postpartum depression, and now postpartum psychosis. One that nobody should ever get into. So it's interesting to find out that almost, okay, so the article says about 75% of mothers have this baby blues. Like when you just have a baby and you think of everything you have to go through, having to sleep shorter hours, having to make sure your baby is fine. No, like someone told me last week, she just called to say, oh, I got something from you. And because I sent it a long time ago, I was wondering that, really, did I send anything to you? Oh, she said, I've had a lot of issues. Do you know that my baby's arm was broken? My daughter's arm was broken at birth. Oh, so I was just, when she was talking, I felt so bad. Like, how would this baby have been able to tell the mom that there's something, a newborn baby? How did she realize there was, you know? So there are so many things that could just give women that easy pathway into postpartum depression. But now we're saying nobody should assume they're lazy. No one should assume they're just being silly. Seek help if you need to. When the feeling starts, before you get, while it's still at the blues level, if you notice you cry, you know you've been crying and it extends, make sure you seek help.
I had a friend who you had a personal experience.
Should I?
Go ahead.
Okay, so when I had my child, my first child, delivery was easy.
Okay.
So it progressed and, you know, I had the child. But when the second child came, I was induced. So the pain was excruciating. So by the time he came, I was far away from him. Although I was admiring him, but I was far away from him. I was
no connection.
There wasn't
emotionally.
Because I felt, why did I have to go through so much pain because of, you know, this child? And it went on for a while. But, you know, I had to speak to my husband about it, saying, because I had a child before, so I could tell the difference, and I had to speak with him to say, this
something's not right.
I'm not connected, you know, and we had the conversation, and I'm grateful that I was there to listen to me. And I didn't wait till it progressed to outrightly hating the child. So I was able to get back.
Because
that's the importance of
some partners, husbands, do not understand what the woman is going through when she's trying to explain that these are the issues. And so they grow with that hatred, that feeling towards the child. I had a friend who also had a similar situation. She said she was looking at the child like, who is this? What's this? And so it took a lot of talking, praying to get her back on track. But
it sounds weird. That's your own child. But these are real issues.
These are real issues. They are real issues. Let's quickly move now to Saturday Vanguard. The major story here says, revealed Tinubu's twin strategy for cabinet appointments to satisfy politicians as well as use experts to drive development. There's been talks about lobbying going on with regards to the positions, the cabinet positions, as he is trying to put together his cabinet. A lot of politicians are said to be lobbying. We'll move now to another story here. Niger Delta chieftains to Tinubu direct new service chiefs to expose oil thieves in military. Early morning flood submerges 116 houses in Abuja. An unfortunate incident there. Entertainment Nigeria's next driver of economic growth meets current top female earners, highest grossing movies. Yvonne Nelson Kozik stares with memoir on her pregnancy, abortion, interesting one. Pro-Buhari's ministers, Yerima tells Tinubu, says Buhari appointed ministers went to sleep, pretended not to see massive corruption in his government. Man, girlfriend sell their 1-month-old baby to fund drug addiction.
I have that story.
That's crazy.
I have that story.
Please, before you take that sad story, let me first of all celebrate this girl first that got, the perfect 5.0 GPA.
Yes. Okay, we've been taking sad stories.
Yes. Let's also celebrate her before that cloud will come again.
The Pepsi one now. The Pepsi one was a good story.
Well, true. So, Aminat has been in the news for about 2-3 days now. I think she was even on the weekday version edition of Your View yesterday, exactly. And it was I was so impressed by her. She was so confident. She was so self-aware. And for a hijabi sister, there's this misconception about, ladies who wear hijabs, they are so they're submerged, or, religion tends to
They don't
make
live
them
life fully.
Exactly. So I was so proud to see her living her dream. She has prepared for this, and then she said, and she didn't use all the excuses of there was no light, or lecturer did not come, or the lecturer was.
She said she was even soaking Garri.
Yeah, she said she soaked Garri. How I survived on Garri, lived on varsity premises without rooms. Like,
wow.
Like she actually survived. Yes,
determined.
Exactly. It's not an excuse. Nobody has an excuse to not thrive in this world. You just have to keep putting in the work, believe in yourself. And then, she already said that she wasn't even expecting this kind of reward and attention, because she said she was discussing with a friend of hers, and then she had told the girl, she had told the girl that I'm not in the entertainment world, so I would likely not be celebrated for this. And then she came out, and she's been celebrated everywhere, and it has just helped her to renew her dreams, because she wanted to jackpot after school. Now she's going to stay.
Right. Still, you have a story.
Yes, I have a story.
Because we have
on page
less than 2 minutes.
The man girlfriend sell their 1-month-old baby to fund drug addiction. As sad as it may seem, this is actually what happened. And the baby was sold for 1.7 million naira, right? And Edo State, it happened in Edo State. The Edo State Task Force is saying that for people that can't raise their children, please bring them into the task force office. We would send them to other agencies. So this is like putting the word out there. And I'm sure other states also have provisions like that, such that if you can't take care of a child, rather than thinking of, selling the child off, please take them to the government.
So let's quickly touch on this story. Early morning flood that submerged some houses in Abuja Trade Mall Estate. It was a sad one. About 116 houses were said to have been submerged in that flood. Climate change, like we have been talking about, NEMA swung into action. Some other papers are reporting that one life was lost, but some are saying that no life was lost. Now, this is a reoccurring issue in that estate, so it is not new to them. It's just that it is much more worse than what it used to be as we speak, to the extent that a woman in a video I saw was shouting that her house is submerged. Finally, flood has gotten to her house. It has never happened before. So it goes to tell us that the extent of climate change as it is now, how it's going to affect us, because there has been this early warning system in place informing states to ensure that they move those who are in certain flood-prone areas to the upper region, to the dry lands, so to speak, so that they would not witness this kind of incident, because millions of properties were destroyed in that estate. You're seeing your house. Some persons were even inside the car. They were in that water, in that flood.
I saw that car. There were people inside.
Yes, some persons were said to be inside the cars where the flood happened.